The Greek islands, in the very south of Europe, raised from the Mediterranean by volcanoes, water, and wind. Millions of years of evolution have given the islands animals and plants found nowhere else on Earth. Every island is its own world, both above and below the surface. Carpets of seagrass cover the seabed off the Peloponnese. There's a creature here that could come from another universe. 8 arms, 2 tentacles, an undulating skirt, and giant far-seeing eyes. Sepia officinalis, the cuttlefish. Special cells in his skin change color and pattern in a split second. He can match his background perfectly. Those eyes are extremely sharp. His sensitive arms have a multitude of uses, mimicking the seagrass, communicating, acting as bait to attract prey. When a victim is spotted, he raises 2 arms, making space for the pair of tentacles that shoot out of his maw. The same technique won't work with a crab. It could simply slice off his arms. So, the cuttlefish sneaks up from behind and envelops his prey. Keeping well clear of the claws. He cracks the carapace and stuns the crab with his toxic saliva. After eating it, he leaves the chitin body shell behind. The west coast of the Peloponnese is home to an animal with very similar characteristics. It's found in this bay. The African chameleon was most likely brought here by ancient Greek traders. A small population has survived to this day. The color of its skin shows if it's scared, happy, angry, or stressed. Relaxed and perfectly camouflaged, it slips between the twigs. A bush cricket has made a kill. This mini predator mainly targets other cricket species. The chameleon has extremely sharp eyesight. It can spot prey far away. His independently swiveling eyes give him nearly 360-degree vision. His catapulting tongue isn't sticky. It creates a tiny vacuum cup on impact. His small, sharp teeth crush the prey, but won't dismember it. The catch is always swallowed whole. "300 kilometers to the south, griffon vultures circle above Crete's craggy coastline. This is where the African continental plate slides under the Aegean plate, creating Europe's most southerly high mountain range. From the coastline, the peaks and gorges of the Lefka Ori Mountains rise into the interior. The Somalia Gorge is the deepest point. This is the home of the Krikris. The brown and white stripe is typical of these Cretan wild goats. Powerful status symbols mark out the dominant males, the great curved horns and the long dark beards. In fact, they're descended from domesticated goats brought here 8,000 years ago. In the wilderness, the Krikris evolved back into their original form, perfectly adapted to their harsh surroundings. The nanny goats and their kids live way upstream, hidden in the valley far from the bucks. Their only contact is in the mating season. The brook running through the gorge gives them a constant water supply, enough for their quiet lives. The kids can run over the rocks within minutes of birth. The nannies reach down for the juicy herbs between the rocks. The kids will soon learn to do it for themselves. In spring, the swollen stream is flanked by oleander bushes. This magnificent display is protected by the toxins in its flowers and leaves. Only the oleander hawk moth caterpillar is impervious. There are two kinds in Crete. One is bright green, and the other bright orange. The caterpillars store the poison in their tissues, making them unappetizing prey. Their weight increases 1,000-fold in just 3 weeks, leaving them plump and well-fed. In a cool cave close by lives a giant Balkan green lizard. Up to 50 centimeters long, this nimble hunter has a taste for caterpillars. But the caterpillar has a surprise in store. Dipping its head forward, it displays its 2 warning eye spots. The effect is immediate. The lizard beats a hasty retreat. But it's still hungry. And a caterpillar caught unawares has no defense. but it may do nothing for the lizard's digestion. The difference in temperature between the valley and the peaks in the Samaria Gorge makes for powerful thermals. Ideal for griffon vultures on the lookout for carrion, scanning the ground for food and the sky for other vultures. When one finds a carcass, within minutes dozens gather overhead. A raven got there first, a sign for the vultures that it's safe to land. In the air, they're masterly gliders. Not so on the ground. Once they've landed, they'll need a good run-up to get airborne again. A dominant male comes forward to check out the surroundings. Meanwhile, more and more vultures gather. For the raven, it's time to go. There's plenty to eat, but still fights break out. It's all about hierarchy. Griffon vultures are perfectly built to take advantage of every opportunity. Their digestive juices destroy the bacteria in decaying meat that would poison other species. They spread their wings, seeped in the cadaver's juices, to dry them. And the stench attracts flies. They get a quick brush off from the vultures. To the flies, the carcass is not just food, but a nursery for their maggots. When the newborn fly away, they leave nothing but bare bones and fur. It certainly looks like carrion. Smells like it too. But it isn't. The common Dracunculus, or dragon arum, mimics both the look and the smell of a decaying corpse. Hungry flies wander over its surface looking for food, sometimes landing in the middle where they're coated with pollen. Once the flies realize they've been tricked, they fly away with the pollen still on board. Bright yellow genista turns the bare plains into a sea of flowers. Spring on the Greek islands. Bees pollinate rocket and move on to the violet poppy anemones. The sirocco blows in from the south, carrying warmth across the Mediterranean from Africa. On the way, it encounters the island of Milos. And it brings with it the first migrating birds. They've flown over 1,000 kilometers without eating or drinking. A flock of western yellow wagtails is landing. A Sardinian warbler takes its first sustenance. The common redstart is more concerned with the state of its plumage. Milos is not the most hospitable place. It's an active volcano. Toxic gases emerging from lava craters leaves them fringed with sulfur crystals. This whole island was created by massive volcanic eruptions more than 1 million years ago. Inland, there's a tiny stream close to drying out. There may be no more rain till autumn. The migrating birds desperately need these last pools of fresh water. But a dip can also be a relaxing game. Unless you're being watched. The Milos viper has learned to hunt these migrating birds. Spring is the only time of year it can catch them at these shrinking pools. Good hunting grounds are few and far between. A red Milos viper is approaching. Both colors are found only on this and neighboring islands. The gray viper withdraws with its prey. Back at the pool, the alarm is sounded. The danger is critical. A wood warbler gets the message and leaves as soon as it arrives. A Sardinian warbler also takes note of the threat. The red viper takes up its position. But not every bird understands the alarm call of another species. As its partner looks on from a rock, the female collared flycatcher is caught. Milos is an island of the elements. Raised in fire, destroyed by water. The fragile coastline gradually worn away by the battering of the waves. Long ago, a coastal cave collapsed, throwing light on a dark world. A place where rocks have slowed the current and allowed sand to collect has become a trap for small fry. A stargazer is hunting here. He hunts all day, half sunk in the sand. He's fast, even slowed down. So fast the other fish notice nothing. Fields of Neptune grass grow in the shallows. Many are genetically identical clones, huge single organisms up to 8 kilometers across. The biggest started 80,000 years ago as a pea-sized seed. That makes them some of the oldest living organisms on Earth. Another predator lurks at the edge of the seagrass. The octopus. The appearance of the intelligent cephalopod spreads fear and terror. It seeks out small fish and crabs on the seabed. For once, the rainbow wrasse can outwit the 8-limbed predator by disappearing into the sand. Back on land, a male chameleon is a loner in a clearly defined territory. If another male enters his domain, conflict is inevitable. The adversaries flatten their bodies to make themselves look larger. They turn dark and threatening. If that doesn't work, they try the gaping jaw. If neither gives way, the conflict escalates. They rear into the threat position, forelegs in the air. The fight is short. The loser quits the field. Giving the victor time to prepare for the mating season. Down below, pairing off has already begun. 3 well-camouflaged cuttlefish lie on the ocean floor. The 2 males want to mate with the female lying beneath them. It can get violent. In the mating season especially, cuttlefish sport their zebra stripes. A male claiming a female won't budge, but the rival won't give up either.
Finally, the rival sees red or black. Both eject ink. Until the loser flees with a parting shot. Now the mating dance commences. At first, the female shrugs him off. Matching outfits have no effect. Finally, at the edge of the seagrass, 16 arms entwine. Hidden from sight, the male passes his sperm packet to the female. This may seem to be a tender embrace of the female. In fact, the male is grasping her as tight as he can. For an act that may be over in a few seconds. The male tries to hold on. But she shakes him off. It's high summer. The temperatures peak at over 40 degrees. There's been no rain for months. The parched land seems lifeless. Animals and plants alike scarcely move. In the early hours, snails climb to the top of bushes and grasses to escape the baking earth. They withdraw into their shells, close the lid, and rest. At the top of the stalks, there's always a cool breeze. On the island of Rhodes, there's another way to keep cool. Millions of moths hang scarcely visible on the rock faces and the trunks of oriental sweet gum trees. The Jersey tiger is a member of the tiger moth family. It spends the hot summer months in this shaded valley with its constant source of water. Resting through the summer, estivation, is like hibernation in the warm months. There's little food for the moths in high summer, so they enter a state in which they do as little as possible. This small lizard is no danger to the tiger moths. They're too big for him to eat. But just by running around, he's a problem. A wren doesn't eat moths either, but disturbing their rest drains them of energy reserves. A hardoon comes on the scene. At 40 centimeters, this lizard is a real threat. For him, summer is the season of plenty. Some Jersey tigers fly straight into his jaws. His hunger is soon sated.
Peace returns to the rock face, and the moths are safe again. But the hardoon can't relax. There's an intruder, a rival, who must be confronted. Without a fight. Both use push-ups to demonstrate their strength and stamina, thus avoiding a dangerous territorial battle. Somehow the intruder knows it's defeated, and departs. Winner takes all. At the end of the summer, as the days become cooler, the tigers leave the valley in their thousands. Next year, a new generation will return. In Central Europe, winter is the season without flowers. In Greece, it's the summer. There is an exception to the rule: sea daffodils. As the sun sets, their heady scent draws nocturnal moths. Each flower opens for a single night. The convolvulus hawk moth follows its long proboscis deep into the flower to reach the nectar. Sea daffodil and moth depend entirely on one another. In the remote Chameleon Bay, the night shift begins. The Mediterranean scorpion is hunting in the dunes. A sand boa leaves its lair. The baby chameleon has spent 11 months in its egg, deep below the surface. It can only hatch at night. In the daytime, the sand would be too hot. It feels its way onto a grass stalk. That it can climb to get away from the predators on the ground. More and more mini chameleons leave the sandy nest and start the long climb upwards. They're reaching for the full moon. 2 centimeters long, each weighs 1 gram. The sandboa hunts in the cool hours. The scorpion is also searching for food. Up there, the chameleons are safe. They keep on climbing till there's no more stalk. The scorpion must find a different prey. A flick of the tail, and it's all over for the Mediterranean cricket. The chameleons must stay on their stalks till morning. The boa will go without. It can't face the August sun. With the dawn, it disappears into the sand. Out over the sea between Crete and the Greek mainland is an island riven and craggy. Antikythera's 22 square kilometers are almost uninhabited. But in late summer, the island is taken over by Eleonora's falcons. These lean raptors measure about 40 centimeters from head to tail. The females are usually bigger than the males. In the breeding season, up to 1,200 pairs spread across Antikythera. It's the raptor's biggest colony. These 2-week-old chicks will be completely dependent on their parents for some time to come. The biggest chick gets first grabs at everything. It's no coincidence they were born so late in the year. It's timed for the arrival of their food source, the songbirds flying to winter quarters in Africa. Antikythera is a staging post on the long southern crossing. The high-altitude hunt starts in the early morning, when the north wind blows, the Meltemi. That's when the prey fly over, getting extra speed from the tailwind. At first, only the male goes out hunting, but as the chicks grow, both parents take their turn. In the mating season and through the breeding season too, falcon pairs bond via spectacular aerobatics. But now, hunting comes first, and the young are never satisfied. Another songbird is consumed. Once in a while, a chick gets a cricket. The rest of the year, the falcon's main diet is insects. By late morning, with the chicks provided for, the parents can look after themselves. Off they go to the island's spa. The only fresh water on the island is the perfect place for a spot of preening. The chicks are fine on their own. The birds themselves are the only predators. There are no others to fear. No wonder the falcons seem so carefree. Plumage grooming comes a clear second to pleasure. But their carefree days will soon be over. Once the chicks are fledged, their parents will take them on their first epic migration to their wintering grounds on Madagascar. One month after her last year's brood hatched, the newly pregnant chameleon is searching for the right place to dig her nest. Her new brood will grow inside the eggs for 11 months. She starts digging in the early morning. She'll dig down up to 50 centimeters. She'll keep digging all day and far into the night. Her turquoise and yellow coloring tell other chameleons she's not available for mating. After laying the eggs, she starts to cover them. That'll take her till morning. As the exhausted chameleon leaves the nest, her tail mimics the surrounding blades of grass. Perhaps it's camouflage to protect the site of her nest from predators. The settled weather is over.
Wild winds batter the islands. To the north, the moisture-laden air has cooled. The sea is still warm. The different pressures produce powerful winds. Energy released in violent storms. The Earth can't absorb the heavy rainfall. Sudden torrents rush towards the sea. On Crete, too, temperatures plummet. In the Lefka-Ori Mountains, winter is on its way. The changing seasons are felt in the sea. The colder water is a signal to the female cuttlefish. She's already chosen the right place to lay her eggs, washed by the current but protected from the swell. She lays her eggs in stages, black, the size of grapes, and attaches them to Neptune grass. As the eggs emerge, they're fertilized by the male's sperm she's been carrying, and then dyed by her ink. This is the last act of her life. She'll die soon after her last eggs are laid. After around 60 days, the embryo is fully formed. The egg has gradually become translucent. The membrane is now so thin the tiny cephalopod can break through it. Half a centimeter long, it's a perfect miniature of its parents. From the moment of birth, it can change shape and color. But you have to learn how to hunt. And it can be painful when you tackle a pebble by mistake. Once the tentacles are fine-tuned, the pursuit of tiny crustaceans can commence. And soon, the cuttlefish will be braving the open waters of the Mediterranean. Crete's highest peaks are already dusted white. Even this far south, it snows early in the winter. The summits of Lefka-Ori will be cloaked in snow for many months. But just a few kilometers away on the coast, the Cretan date palms stay green throughout the year. Winter shading into the tropics. In this oasis, the alpine swifts take a last sip of fresh water before they too cross the saltwater Mediterranean. The last travelers to leave the Greek islands behind them.